Adolf Hitler, hearing about this case, April 20, 1889, April 30, 1945, was a German politician and leader of the National Socialist German Workers' Party. He came to power in 1933 by being elected as Chancellor of Germany. He became the leader of Germany in 1934 and ruled this country until his death in 1945. Germany, led by Hitler, invaded Poland on September 1, 1939, and started World War II in Europe. He played a prominent role in military operations during the war and is considered one of the main designers of the Holocaust. Adolf Hitler was born in Austria, then part of Austria-Hungary, and raised in Linz. In 1913, he moved to the German Empire and served in the army of this country during the First World War. In 1919, he joined the German Workers' Party, which was later renamed the National Socialist German Workers' Party. In 1921, he was elected as the leader of this party, and 2 years later in 1923, he tried to seize power with a coup d'état in Munich, but he was unsuccessful and was imprisoned. In prison, he completed the first volume of his autobiography and political manifesto, My Battle. After being released from prison after only a few months in 1924, he became immensely popular among the public by criticizing the Treaty of Versailles and promoting pan-Germanism, anti-Semitism and opposition to communism through his charismatic leadership and party propaganda. He considered international capitalism and communism to be part of Jewish conspiracies. In November 1932, despite having the most seats in the Reichstag, the Nazi Party did not have a majority. As a result, no party was able to collect the necessary votes to put their candidate in power for the chancellery. Former Chancellor Franz von Papen and his conservative supporters convinced President Paul von Hindenburg to make Hitler chancellor. Thus, Hitler got this title on January 30, 1933. Shortly after, the Reichstag passed the Delegation Act, which is considered the starting point of the transformation of the Weimar Republic into Nazi Germany, a one-party system based on totalitarianism and the ideology of Nazism. Hitler wanted a Germany without Jews and was trying to establish a new order against the international order that he saw as unfairly shaped by France and Britain after World War I. In his first 6 years in power, Germany saw a rapid economic recovery after the Great Depression, breaking free from the restrictions imposed after World War I and annexing the surrounding German territories, which made Hitler very popular. Hitler wanted to create a vital space for the German people in Eastern Europe because it was thought that Germany did not have enough resources geographically to support its population. Hitler's aggressive foreign policy, which was related to this issue, is considered the main reason for the start of World War II in Europe. He rearmed Germany on a large scale and led Germany in the invasion of Poland on September 1, 1939, which caused Britain and France to declare war on the country. In June 1941, Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union, began, and by the end of this year, most of Europe and North Africa were occupied by Germany and its allies in the Axis forces. After 1941, Germany gradually lost its conquests, and by 1945, the Allies had completely defeated the Wehrmacht. Adolf Hitler married his lover Eva Braun on April 29, 1945, and committed suicide with her less than 2 days later to avoid being captured by the Soviet Red Army. Hitler and his wife were cremated after death. Germany under the leadership of Hitler and his racial ideology caused the death of 6 million Jews and millions of other victims. The victims were said to be considered subhuman or socially undesirable by Hitler and his supporters. Hitler and the Nazi regime were also responsible for the deaths of about 19.3 million civilians and prisoners of war. Therefore, Hitler's actions and the ideology of Nazism are considered extremely evil issues almost all over the world. Ancestry and family. Adolf's father was Alois Hitler. He was the illegitimate child of Maria Schickel-Gruber, and for this reason, his father's name was not included in his baptism certificate. As a result, Alois initially took his mother's last name, Schickel-Gruber. In 1842, Johann Georg Hitler married Maria Anna, mother of Alois. Alois was entrusted to Johann Georg's brother, Johann Nepomuk Hitler. In 1876, Alois was rebaptized and declared pure by a priest. In his baptismal certificate, The name Johann Georg Hitler, in the form of Georg Hitler, was recorded as the father's name. After that, Alois took the surname Hitler for himself. Hitler literally probably means one who lives in a hut. Hans Frank, a Nazi officer, claimed that Alois' mother was employed as a maid by a Jewish family in Graz, and that the family's 19-year-old son, Leopold Frankberger, was Alois' real father. However, no one named Frankberger was registered in Graz at this time. There is no evidence for the existence of a person named Leopold Frankberger. Consequently, historians deny that Alois' father was Jewish.